And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Our NBA team previews continue. We're going to South Beach this time. I think I'm getting the South Beach flu. I might have to stay there for a little while right there on the beach. Sorry for me. It is Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for joining us. Truly appreciated. We are covering the Miami Heat. Pat Riley, what is he orchestrating now? Is he still slicking his hair back? We'll find out, because the guy who's going to talk about the Miami Heat is a good man indeed. You got to go ahead and check out what he's doing today for Clutch Points. Many articles around the world of sports, including basketball, the NBA, NFL, so much more. And, of course, he covers the Miami Heat for Clutch Points. It is Zachary Weinberger. Zachary, you have no idea how happy I am to do this interview, because I've had 11 different requests out still pending for Miami Heat. Beat writers, personalities, things of that nature, people I've had before on the show. You are the one that stood up to the plate. You are the one that I am truly appreciative for going ahead and talking about the Heat today.
No, absolutely. I mean, like you said, when you have a team you cover that's starring Pat Riley, that stars, especially last year with all the on and the off court drama, it's always going to be an interesting season for the Miami Heat. So listen, I will take one for the team. I'm glad to step up to the plate, and let's have a great show. I think we're going to.
Absolutely, indeed. Is the theme of your season though entitled "Sigh of Relief"? Because you guys have basically at this point in time, drama-wise, significantly less after what went on with the Butler situation. Him finally being traded to Golden State. I think a lot of pressure left out of Miami when that happened. And it's now about getting the team to a place where they feel comfortable at contending at the top of the Eastern Conference. And that's my impression about how I see it. Do you see something similar?
Absolutely. I mean, again, they didn't. I feel like it's understandable too. They didn't want to admit it during the season, but it was clear that the on and the off court drama with Butler was getting to them. We saw it in the play. We saw it in the effort. We saw it in every single aspect on the court, whether it be Eric Spoelstra, the players. Because again, you don't expect a player like that to be suspended 3 or 4 different times throughout that that span. And obviously later during the end of season press conferences, we heard from Riley Spo, Tyler Herro, Bam, etc. And they said yeah, it had an impact, it had an effect for sure. And to me, I don't think that is that makes them mentally not tough, because I mean, how could you focus when you don't know if a huge part of your team, really the alpha of your team, we don't know if he's going to be there or not. So I think going into the season, they know who's the lead guys. It's a clearer headspace all around. I think that's definitely going to benefit them. Now, how much? How much will they compete in terms of the top of the Eastern Conference? I will have to see. We're going to talk about it obviously today, but there's no doubt that is the benefactor going into the season, is that clear headspace.
I'll tell you what, though, the team that you're fielding out there, I think in an Eastern Conference that's not quite as strong, plus the injuries to Indiana and Boston, with the right tweaking, could find some opportunistic wins and could get them in a place where they could surprise again in the Eastern Conference. With that, though, it starts off with who you got there. Tyler Herro is coming off a career year. A lot of people were impressed with what he did over the course of the entire season, seemed to develop his game a little bit more because more of the pressure was on him to do what he needed to the team, or for the team, excuse me, especially with the Butler situation going on and Bam Adabayo not having the greatest of seasons.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that was kind of the one of the few bright spots with the season was Tyler Herro. He made the jump that people thought he could have the past however so many years. Injuries held him back, stuff held him back. The one thing about him that I was always wanting to see was the kind of the consistency. He would always have the spurts where he'll score 20 or 30 per game, but then he'll have a couple weeks where he's really bad. So he really cleaned that up. He really locked in, and we kind of saw an all-star season from him. He was way more consistent, and even when teams started to adapt a little bit, because again, he was playing a lot off the ball, and then he was starting to play make a little more. But again, once you get Butler off the team, people are going to focus in on him. And originally he had to adapt, and he did towards the end of the season. There, obviously, the playoffs set a different story, but he still had, like you said, a career best season. And again, now that Bam is going to be a centerpiece. But also, again, they made a move in Norman Powell that they absolutely needed, because with those first two guys, listen, they're really good players. They'll be great players for any team, but they need a number one guy. They needed more offense, and they got that in Norman Powell, who absolutely thrived when Kawhi Leonard missed a lot of time, at the start of the season for the Clippers. And he almost had an all-star season. He was, I think, top 10 Western Conference voting, I believe. So he had a good season. So they needed a gut punch on offense. Defense, you kind of think that Spoelstra is always going to have a defense first team. So again, they're an interesting squad. That, like you said, the injuries in the Eastern Conference, it's a little more open. You wonder where they're going to fall. I definitely don't think they'll be 10th like they were last season, but we'll just have to see. But again, with Tyler and Bam there, and now Norman Powell, it's going to be an interesting one for sure.
The thing I want to go ahead and say is because Davion Mitchell really uh, came on at the very end of the season when he got traded over from Sacramento, or no, Toronto. He went from Sacramento to Toronto to Miami, and really came on as a player, developing the way I didn't think I'd see out of him coming out of college. And they signed him to a contract, building around him as a maybe a possible piece going forward for him. Tell me about your thoughts on Davion Mitchell. I know, again, when he came to Miami, I don't know of how many people were thinking that he was going to develop in the way he did, but he was more an off-ball guy when he came into the league, but now he's more of an on-ball guy as a point guard, a guy who can get you really some good on-ball defense, and is now finally consistently hitting the outside shot.
And that was the thing that was definitely surprising. The one thing that you knew when they made the trade, how he was going to fit in seamlessly, was the defense. He's a pit bull on the floor. That's what Bam calls him. I mean, he showed that in Sacramento, in Toronto, and then he absolutely showed it right from the get go in Miami. While obviously Wiggins was the featured piece of that trade, that Butler trade, it was really Davion Mitchell that kind of proved the dividends throughout the most of the season, where besides the defense, like you said, he shot the three ball extremely well. We'll see if that sustains into next season. But he was also a really good playmaker, playing off of a Tyler Herro, playing off of a Bam Adabayo, and even in some places playing off of a Khalil Ware, who we'll see how that develops going into next season. So to me, one of the big things going into the offseason was re-signing him. There's going to be a lot of interest for a guy like that, who can basically play every single aspect on the floor. We'll see how that fits in terms of like the rotations. Is he a starter? Is he coming off the bench? Either way, he is a plus guy for sure. To me, he was worth the contract. I don't think any Heat fan, and, Heat culture, the Heat fan base, they like to debate a lot about different things. This was kind of one of the things was like, yep, we needed to keep him. I mean, this is a Heat type of guy. People, and I can understand to some degree the Heat culture and how that's almost played out to a degree. That sort of phrase, but like the guy embodies it to a T. So like Pat Riley wasn't to have any way to keep him here. He was going to do it. So he was definitely something that was really one of the bright spots of last season.
Absolutely, I think so as well. One of the not so bright spots, though, was someone who really uh, did a great job as a surprising rookie the year he came out, coming out of UCLA. Triple J, Jaime Jaquez Jr. He seemed to have taken a step back in his second year, didn't really find his footing, which is part of the reason for the ultimate end up that the team did. Obviously, the drama, Bam's regression, and Triple J's regression were obviously some of the lowlights for the team and why they didn't ultimately succeed that highly. Your thoughts on what Triple J can turn around, or do you think that last year gave you an indication of maybe that's closer to what he is as opposed to what he did in his rookie season?
I definitely think he'll be a little better this third season. What I will say is that coming out of college, looking at how he played in the rookie season, he was impressing, no doubt. You just kind of got the feeling, for me especially, that he does have a very low ceiling in terms of like I think he could be a really solid player. I just
Yeah.
don't know if he's going to be a featured piece, if you know what I'm trying to say. Like,
Yeah.
he was really, benefiting off of, like, again, people not scouting him as well. And once they did, he really struggled. But again, he has that sort of game plan where he's going to bully you down into the paint, and he's going to have it to take advantage of you in terms of your placement on defense. He's going to get to the rim really nicely. So he has to work on that. And again, he tried to add in a three-point shot. It never really found any consistency the past couple seasons. It doesn't help too that he was hurt a good portion in a lot of areas last season. So it's almost a question mark. But again, like, I think that the ceiling for him is lower than a lot of guys who have major talent. Again, he's going to be a solid guy in the rotation. He's going to be a guy that goes off some nights. I just don't know if it's going to be as explosive as we saw in that first season. But Spoelstra is going to find a way for him to succeed. Again, if he can add in the defense, if he can add in the 3-point shot, he's going to find a place on this team. It's just at the moment, I'm not so sure. And again, he was really likened to Butler that first season of how physical he was. He just couldn't get the ball into the rim. So I wonder how consistently he'll do that. The second season was definitely a regression. Um, but again, if he can add in the 3-point shot, I think that will absolutely benefit him. But we'll have to see. The consistency is key for sure.
If so many things work out for your team, it's not the deepest team, but it's also not. It's far from being the lightest team as far as depth is concerned. You have a lot of players, a lot of mix between savvy veterans and some promising youth. I mean, if Nikola Jovic, Pele Larson, if one of those guys, or of course Khalil Ware, pop as a player and really start to stand out, that can take things in a very accelerated direction. Nikola Jovic and Pele Larson are coming off of their Euro basketball time, showed some things while they were there that hopefully they can apply to the Miami Heat this season. But it's Khalil Ware that I think intrigues a lot of people because of what he shows flashes of. But how soon do you think he can put it all together?
Listen, Khalil, the Kryptonian, as people like down here like to call him. To me, he has the talent, all the talent in the world to become a star player. I mean, that's just my opinion. Especially if he can basically improve on the defensive side of the ball. He has the length, obviously. I think, but the thing is, the reason why he was such a great pick that when they drafted him is because they needed size. The team that again, running Bam at center. He's obviously not the tallest guy in the NBA. They needed a very athletic guy. Because I remember when they had us on Whiteside, he would really slow down the team. And once Bam came in his rookie season, Spo played him, and Spo liked that fast pace. But they needed kind of the best of both worlds. Could we get a guy that's 7 foot taller or more and is very athletic? And they got a guy in Khalil Ware that could do that. He's going to get a ton of opportunity this season, no doubt. And I think he can kind of get to that point. He showed a lot of touch close to the rim, and even short of scoring a 3-point ball might be consistently. So, like, I think he's going to have a pretty damn good season here. And again, with the front core next to Bam, there's a lot of opportunity there. We saw the chemistry building with him and Tyler, even him and Davion. So yeah, again, I think he's going to get a lot of opportunity in the world. We'll see, if he can do it consistently. Again, like, I always kind of question players going from an impressive rookie season to a second season. I had the same question with Jaime. We saw what happened there, and we'll see if that happens with Khalil. The thing is, Khalil, to me, the ceiling is so much more higher there, and his intangibles are so much more likely to succeed that I think he's just gonna have a really good season. So to me, I think that he's gonna be really good. And speaking of Pelle Larson, um, I think he's right from his first season, Spoelstra was calling him an elite role player, and I don't think that that's necessarily like a dig. The guy has the defensive intensity that it pops off the screen or pops off the court, where if you're watching in person or at home. He can shoot the three ball when he wants. He's very physical, driving to the paint. He can do it all. He's going to fit seamlessly into this team. And Jovic, again, the past couple of years, people have been wondering, is this the season he breaks out and stuff like that? I think, we'll have to see, because Spo likes to play him at the 4, Spam at the 5. We'll see how the rotations kind of differ there. but he has it all too. But he hasn't unlocked it yet. And you're kind of wondering, is this the season? I think Eurobasket's really going to help him. He's playing against a lot of great talent there.
I'll tell you what, things look pretty promising for you guys down in South Beach. Again, an interesting mix of veterans and youth to see if they could put it all together. But with the mastermind and Pat Riley there, he may not want to stand pat again. He may see it with incoming extensions or contracts, salary cap restrictions, things of that nature. He might want to make a move. Plus, there's a certain Giannis Antetokounmpo who he won't be available right away. I mean, the signing of Thanasis, his brother, pretty much assured that he's at least going to stay. Maybe at the very least to the trade deadline would be my estimation. If things went totally wrong or totally south in Milwaukee, he probably won't ask for out until then. Most likely not. Most likely maybe not until 2027 when he does become a free agent. We will have to wait and see, but it just seems like there are a lot of pieces that Pat Riley may want to move around, either not right away per se, but sometime in the near future.
Yeah, knowing this team, they're going to be involved in any star that's going to be available. But it's almost
Mhm.
kind of like a running on joke here, where it's like they're always involved. They might be a finalist, they never get the job done. We saw recently with KD, and how they didn't want to give up too many pieces to get an aging Kevin Durant. The thing is with the thing with Giannis is, and this is kind of a discussion and a debate people were having with Giannis. It's like, okay, obviously he's a top 5 player in the league. Some people consider him to be higher. How much you're gonna give up? The draft capital is not looking so great with Miami. Like you said, the salary cap even is not looking so great. You're probably gonna have to give up one of your top 2 guys. It seems like every time you talk to Pat Riley in his end of season press conference, he seems stand pat that it's Bam and Tyler. Those are the 2 guys we're building around. If you're getting Giannis in here, you'll probably have to give up one of those 2. And then it's like, okay, which one is it? Because I don't know if the other young guys and some picks will be enough. We'll have to see. Again, it depends if he really requests to go there. Then it's a Dame situation all over again. It's like the Heat fans are they really have like they wake up at night knowing about these players that they could have had. We'll have to see though. Again, I think Pat has one last really big move for there, and we'll see if it's Giannis that's again that he would be great here in South Beach for sure. We'll see how they get. Again, there might be some moves they still make in terms of like lateral moves. They still want to move Terry Rozier. It seems like, and obviously his time here in Miami has been largely forgettable. So we'll see where Pat goes. It's going to be an interesting first couple months. It's going to be interesting maybe next couple weeks to see how they kind of do. Obviously, Wiggins is another question mark. Speaking of the Lakers, they're always connected. The rumors are always there. So yeah, it's like this team is like there's a bunch of promising things, but there's still some question marks that still need to be dealt with. So we're just going to have to see.
We will see indeed. But as I always ask my guests when we're talking about the NBA previews, let's just say everything went right in a Eastern Conference, as I stated at the beginning. It's not exactly the greatest Eastern Conference that's out there, especially due to injuries with both Jason Tatum and Tyrese Halliburton. So Indiana Boston cannot field a team that probably will not be making plans for a finals return anytime soon. The New York Knicks and Cleveland Cavaliers seem to be loading up. Of course, Orlando seems to be really finalizing a team as well. We don't know, though, with that group, what is the ceiling for that group as far as it's concerned, because they haven't played with each other as a quartet as of yet. Atlanta made some promising moves to the offseason, but that doesn't mean that through circumstance or injury or both, that a team like Miami can't surprise, which they possibly could with the team that they have. Again, interesting mix of veterans and youth. So let's say that all blends together well. There's no pressure coming off of the, removal of Butler off the team. This team starts to gel real quickly. You do have one of the finest coaches thought of in this century, and Eric Spoelstra. I guess, there's not anybody that's out there that doesn't think he is one of the best coaches out there and has been for quite some time. So with that, let's say this all works out together. Where do you see this team ending up? In
In a
case
per-
it all went right, of
in
course.
case it all went right, okay, that's okay. That's key for me because
Mhm.
injuries have plagued this team the past couple seasons,
Yes, it has.
and I don't know if it'll work to come off the gate in terms of the chemistry. Um, but if everything goes well, I think they're probably the sixth seed, and which means, and again, I think the goal for them is that they don't want to play in the play-in tournament anymore.
Mhm.
And I think that that's where they're going to be. To me, that is the ceiling for this team. Is that, and maybe some Heat fans will be, not angry that I say that. We'll see. But I think that but to me, a six seed is a successful season because, like you said, it needs to work right off the gate. There's still some chemistry issues. It's a first full season without Butler. Um, and again, there's some question marks still on the team and injuries. We'll see how that plays out. So I think if they miss the play in tournament, absolutely successful season. You don't have to face a top two seed anymore. I think the Eastern Conference being injured as they are, it helps them. So I'm gonna say six seed.
Okay, fair enough. Again, it's seeing what we've seen before from Miami this decade in regards to where they're at and where they ultimately end up. Sixth seed might be, we got you guys now. Finals, here we come.
I
Yes,
I I
it's
I think the team is tired of like trying to do too much. Again, they were the eighth seed one year and then they went all the way to the finals. I don't think they want to play extra games anymore. It's just like let's
okay.
succeed in the regular season. I think before this season, which they were 10th last season, it was back to back seasons of the eighth seed.
Yeah.
I think they'll be better than that for sure.
Okay, fair enough indeed. Once again, I'm speaking to Zachary Weinberger. Please go ahead and check out what he's doing at Clutch Points. But before it's time for the cheap plug, as I call it, as Zachary will tell you what he's doing, where he's at, and how you can follow him. We're going to go ahead and get his thoughts because this helps formulate my thoughts on the Lakers when I get people who are outside the Lakers bubble to go ahead and evaluate this team for me and really give me a sense of what the continual perception is in the league. So with that, you do know that Skinny Luca is it's been looking pretty good overseas, getting ready to go ahead and finally show off. Maybe it's the Thank You Nico Vengeance tour coming up for as far as that's concerned against Dallas, what have you. LeBron in his age 41 season coming up. The team did pick up, of course, the three pickups in Laravia, Aiden, and Smart to add to their team, which I mean, I think you and I, if we went on that team, I think that would help the depth of what we saw last year. But be that as it may, what are your thoughts on how the Lakers will or can compete in the league this season, at least in the Western Conference per se?
I think personally, a full off season will benefit this team greatly. I just think personally for me, I think when you see a team that has Luka and LeBron, the first thing I think of is like, okay, NBA Finals bound. But then I had some questions. It was a blockbuster trade. Again, I feel like people undermine the mental capacity of these players. Like Luca did not. He was blindsided by that trade. How could
Yes.
you not be? Everybody was, except for Rob Pelinka and
He
Nico
was
Harrison,
going to buy a
obviously.
home in Dallas, is in the
Exactly.
process of doing that.
Like there was no inclination that this was going to happen. I was one of many that thought Shams was hacked when when that was released. So I think that affects a player, and I think that especially the team had flaws too. Obviously, that's why we saw what we saw in the playoffs. I just think they made the right moves. There's still work to be done, but I think they made the right moves. I think they're going to be a top two, top three seed in the Western Conference next season. I'm just putting it out there. I think there's a good chance that they make the NBA Finals. I think so. I just think a full off season that you have LeBron and you have Luca and everybody else, like you mentioned, the additions. I think they're going to be a dangerous team. Now, I hesitated when we saw the whole thing with LeBron and the Lakers and how it's like, oh, do they want him here? Do they not? Are they going to move on from him? I don't know if that will have an effect. I think though that if he does retire, if he does move on after this season, I think that they're gonna end it on a bang. And so to me, I have high expectations for this team. I know that's every Laker season, but I think they're gonna make do, no doubt this next season. That's my opinion, anyways.
No, fair enough indeed. That great evaluation there. I'm sure that'll please a lot of people watching this if they're Lakers fans when I do put this up. But before we head on out, if you're a Miami fan watching this, NBA fan watching this, or a Lakers fan watching this, you've got to go ahead and check out what this guy is doing because he's had some good stuff that's out there, not just on the NBA, but the NFL as well. So with that, Zachary, I want to hear your thoughts on exactly where you're at, what you're doing, and as far as out there on the interwebs, as the old people like me used to call it, where can they find you and how can they get a hold of your great work that's out there on the internet?
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it. So again, you can find me at clutchpoints.com. Besides being the beat reporter for the Miami Heat there, I'm also an associate editor for them. So that's why you'll see some NFL content, college football, college basketball, baseball, write about all sports there for sure. But obviously, once the season gets into high gear, you'll see a lot of Heat content there for sure. Instagram at Zach Weinberger, basically my first name shortened to Zach Weinberger. Same thing on Twitter or X and Facebook as well if you want to find me there. And again, you'll see an email there on my Twitter page if you want to send any tips or links or story ideas. Feel free to send them along. Follow for sure. Check out my content. It's going to be a very eventful season for sure, as I think it definitely will be for the Lakers, but definitely for the Heat as well. And I appreciate being on the show.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, this went along great. I'm so thankful that you took the time to speak to me. Again, I put a lot of requests out, and you were the one that answered back. So I'm truly indebted to you for doing so. I would love to catch up during the course of the season if you have some time to talk about what's going on with both our teams next time around, if you get the chance during the season, if that be possible.
No doubt, let's do it. No doubt. I imagine our teams will definitely, go through some motions, and there will be a lot to talk about. There's no doubt.
Especially if those Wiggins rumors come to effect. I wasn't as high on it. I know in a recent live show that I did, I wasn't when it was proposed. I wasn't exactly high on Wiggins coming here for a lot of expirings, but when somebody suggested Powell and Wiggins, and I'm like, okay, let me see how the money works. We would have to give you back some expirings, but Austin Reeves, if it basically a 5-for-3 trade, it almost works dollar for dollar. Austin Reeves would be the key piece for you guys. And then, of course, the two veterans for us. I don't know how that works for you guys as far as what Miami would take on that. I don't know how they see in Austin Reeves, if he's a kind of player, if he's too similar to Hero or whatnot. But
Yeah.
it's just something, like I said, I don't get thrilled over Wiggins. But as far as lining up two veterans, I could be interested. But like you said, Norman Powell, getting him on the cheap for nothing from the Clippers coming off his best season, I don't know if I'd want to do that either if I was in Miami.
Yeah, the thing with Wiggins is, and because we got Norman for that price, I think we literally only traded Kevin Love and Kyle Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
I just think Wiggins gets lost a little bit. I think that where does Wiggins fit? He's basically the fourth guy on the Heat, and you can make an argument for the third, like truly offensively. And it's like I think a team like the Lakers could benefit him more. Again, I feel like Wiggins is not this flashy player. And again, that's why I just think he just gets lost in the lineup there. Reeves, when you mentioned Reeves, I heard the Reeves before. Again, I just think of Hero. I just think like the play styles are very similar. I'm wondering how Spoelstra would make that fit. I've always heard Rui's name as being something that could be in a deal. It just depends. I wonder how that's going to be. I feel like Wiggins will be moved. That's just kind of a prediction. That's not like a report or anything. I think it's just prediction. And it seems like again the Lakers seem to be very interested. So we'll see. I feel like these two teams are going to be connected a lot this season.
We will see. Well, they're connected anyways because of Pat Riley always.
Yep.
So
Yep.
We will see what happens. It is, of course, the Miami Heat, and no one covers it better than Zachary Weinberger at Clutch Points. Zachary, great to have you on the show. Looking forward to when we can go ahead and pick up our conversation once again during the season right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.